Did you know that a simple handful of the right nuts could mean the difference between foggy thoughts and a sharp, active mind well into your 80s and beyond? It may sound too simple to be true, but new research is uncovering powerful connections between certain nuts and long-term brain health, especially for seniors. In fact, some of these natural superfoods are quietly working behind the scenes to preserve memory, boost mood, and even delay cognitive decline. Yet, most older adults still overlook them completely. Today, we're uncovering what the science says, what ancient wisdom knew all along, and how a few humble nuts might help you or someone you love stay sharp, aware, and joyful through the later years of life. Welcome to Golden Daily Life, where we honor the wisdom of age and the power of daily choices. As we age, there's a message that seems to echo louder and louder. Slow down, take it easy, you've done enough. And while rest is certainly important, this message can be dangerous when it's used to justify ignoring our bodies, minds, and the small daily habits that keep us truly alive. When it comes to brain health, it's especially easy to believe that forgetfulness is just a normal part of aging, that losing mental clarity is unavoidable. But what if that's not entirely true? What if the brain, like any other part of the body, can be nourished, trained, and even rejuvenated? What if what we eat, something as small and simple as a nut, could spark major changes in how we think, feel, and remember? Let's dive into this overlooked world of natural brain boosters and discover the 5 nuts that are making researchers and nutritionists rethink everything they thought they knew about cognitive aging. Our journey begins with walnuts, and there's a reason they look like miniature brains. Rich in omega-3 fatty acids, especially alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, walnuts are nature's brain protectors. These fats are critical for maintaining the structure and function of brain cells. In studies, seniors who regularly consumed walnuts showed better memory, faster processing speeds, and even reduced symptoms of depression. But it's not just about what they give your brain, it's about what they protect it from. Walnuts are loaded with antioxidants, fighting off inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are deeply linked to cognitive decline. For seniors, just a small daily portion, about a quarter cup, can begin to tip the balance towards sharper thinking and longer mental vitality. Next, let's talk about Brazil nuts. Not as common in the average kitchen, but their impact is quietly incredible. Brazil nuts are the richest known source of selenium, a mineral that supports the brain's defense against free radicals and oxidative stress. Low selenium has been linked to poorer cognitive performance and even mood disorders in older adults. What's fascinating is that you don't need to eat a whole bowl to get the benefit. Just one Brazil nut a day often provides all the selenium your body needs. Seniors who consistently consume Brazil nuts often report improved clarity, more stable energy, and even better emotional balance. It's one of nature's most concentrated brain tonics, and yet, so few people know it. Our third brain-boosting powerhouse is the almond. A staple in many homes, almonds are high in vitamin E, a nutrient critical for protecting the brain from age-related decline. In a world where dementia and memory loss are often feared but not fully understood, vitamin E stands out for its role in preserving mental sharpness. But almonds don't just help your memory, they support your heart too. And the link between heart health and brain health is tighter than many realize. A healthy heart means more oxygen-rich blood to the brain, keeping it well-nourished and energized. For seniors, almonds can serve as both a delicious snack and a powerful act of self-care. As we move through this exploration, think about your own daily habits. Are any of these nuts already part of your diet, or are they something you've overlooked, not realizing the quiet power they hold? Often, it's not the big dramatic changes that shape our health, it's the small, consistent choices we make every single day. Coming up, we'll reveal 2 more nuts that might surprise you, including one that could actually help regenerate nerve tissue. Yes, you read that right. Plus, we'll share a real-life story of a woman who rediscovered mental clarity after a simple change in her diet at age 78. But before we move on, take a moment to reflect. What if the sharp, focused version of you isn't lost, just undernourished? What if the journey to mental vitality starts with something as humble as a nut? If this message resonates with you, we invite you to stay with us. There's so much more ahead, and it might just change the way you think about aging. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to Golden Daily Life, where each video is crafted with care to uplift, inform, and empower you in this chapter of life. Also, we'd love to hear your stories. What foods have helped you feel your best after 60? Share with us in the comments. Let's continue our journey into the foods that don't just fill us but fuel our brilliance. Let's pick up where we left off, uncovering the subtle yet powerful role certain nuts play in supporting mental clarity, memory, and emotional balance well into our later years. We've already discovered the benefits of walnuts, Brazil nuts, and almonds. Now, it's time to explore two more nuts that often fly under the radar but are packed with properties that can help keep your mind bright and active even past 80. Next on our list are hazelnuts. These rich, flavorful nuts are more than just a holiday treat. For seniors seeking to protect their brain health naturally, hazelnuts are a quiet powerhouse. They're incredibly high in vitamin E, just like almonds, but they also provide a wide array of other essential nutrients like thiamine, folate, and manganese that work together to support neurological health. Thiamine, in particular, is crucial for nerve function and energy production within brain cells. Seniors with low thiamine levels may notice forgetfulness, confusion, or even increased fatigue. Just a small handful of hazelnuts a few times a week can help fill that gap, gently supporting the nervous system and sharpening mental focus. But what's even more impressive is hazelnuts' anti-inflammatory impact. Chronic inflammation is now understood as one of the key contributors to diseases of aging, including Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. By including anti-inflammatory foods like hazelnuts in the diet, older adults may be able to reduce their risk of long-term brain changes before they even begin. And then, we come to a nut that many overlook or associate more with desserts than health: pistachios. But don't let their playful green color fool you. Pistachios are one of the most complete nutritional snacks for the aging brain. They contain healthy fats, fiber, protein, and antioxidants. But one of their greatest contributions is lutein, a compound best known for eye health, but recently studied for its protective effects on the brain. In fact, higher levels of lutein in the brain have been associated with better cognitive function and memory, especially in older adults. And unlike many snacks that spike blood sugar and leave us feeling foggy or fatigued, pistachios offer slow, steady energy. That means they help avoid the mental crashes that come from sugary or processed treats, while also providing a subtle mood lift. Their combination of magnesium and B vitamins makes them especially good for mental balance and stress reduction, two things that become even more important as we age. Now, let's shift our focus from the science to the human side, because behind every nutrient and study, there's a real person whose life was changed. Take Margaret, for example. At 78, she found herself slipping not in body, but in mind. She'd always been sharp, active, and socially engaged. But over time, she noticed small things: forgetting names, losing her train of thought, and feeling like conversations moved just a little too fast. Her doctor told her it was normal aging. But Margaret didn't accept that answer. Instead, she began reading, researching, and slowly making changes to her daily diet. She swapped out her afternoon cookies for a small bowl of mixed nuts: walnuts, pistachios, and hazelnuts, mainly. Within weeks, she noticed more clarity. Within months, she felt like herself again. Her family noticed too. She was quicker, livelier, more joyful. Margaret's story isn't unique, it's just rarely told. Most of the time, we talk about pills and procedures, but not about food. Not about what happens when we feed the brain what it's truly hungry for. These 5 nuts aren't magic, but they are powerful. And when paired with other healthy lifestyle choices like movement, sleep, and mental engagement, they can help seniors not just live longer but live better. So, how can you start adding them into your daily life without it feeling like a chore? One easy way is to create a brain bowl. Keep a mix of these 5 nuts in a small jar on your kitchen counter. A handful each morning with breakfast or as an afternoon pick-me-up is all it takes. You don't need to overhaul your diet, just begin with a handful of intention. And here's something you might not know. The timing of when you eat these nuts can make a difference too. Consuming them earlier in the day gives your brain access to steady fuel as you go about your tasks, while snacking on them in the evening may help support sleep and overnight brain repair thanks to their magnesium and amino acid content. As we get older, it becomes tempting to look for big solutions, miracle supplements, complex routines. But often, the answers are simpler, closer, and more nourishing than we realize. There is so much more ahead, so many vibrant days left to live. Whether you're 60, 70, or even 90, your brain is still listening to what you feed it. It still wants to grow. It still wants to shine. Stick with us, because in the next segment, we'll look at how these nuts interact with other foods and how creating simple meal pairings can actually amplify their brain-boosting effects. Plus, we'll introduce a 90-year-old pianist who credits her sharp memory to one simple daily snack that includes 3 of the nuts we've discussed. And if this message is speaking to you, consider subscribing to Golden Daily Life, where we bring wisdom, wellness, and encouragement to every stage of aging. Don't forget to like the video and share it with a friend who may need a gentle reminder that age is not the end, it's a new beginning. As we continue this journey into the foods that quietly protect the aging brain, it's important to understand that not all nutrition works in isolation. What we eat together often makes a bigger impact than any one food alone. And when it comes to nuts, the combinations you create around them can either amplify their benefits or silently undo them. Let's revisit what we've learned so far. Walnuts for their omega-3s, Brazil nuts for selenium, almonds for vitamin E, hazelnuts for thiamine, and pistachios for lutein and steady energy. These are more than just snacks, they're a kind of daily medicine, gentle but powerful. Now imagine pairing them with brain-loving foods like blueberries, dark leafy greens, and small portions of dark chocolate. When combined, these create a synergy in the body. The antioxidants in berries, for instance, help carry the fatty acids from walnuts deeper into the brain's protective structures. The fiber in leafy greens supports the absorption of nutrients, helping your digestive system pull every bit of benefit from those nuts. And a square of dark chocolate not the sugary kind, but the pure, bitter kind enhances blood flow to the brain, giving those nutrients a smoother ride. This is how simple changes add up. You don't need to spend hours planning meals. A salad topped with crushed almonds and blueberries, or a bowl of oatmeal sprinkled with walnuts and a few dark chocolate shavings can quietly rewire your brain's health over time. Let's talk about another often missed piece of the puzzle: when and how these nutrients are absorbed. Seniors often experience decreased stomach acid or slower digestion, meaning some vitamins and minerals aren't absorbed as well as they once were. That's why it matters to chew your nuts thoroughly. It sounds simple, even silly, but digestion begins in the mouth. The more we chew, the more our bodies can extract. Now, here's where things get even more personal and inspiring. Meet Irene, age 90, a retired music teacher who still plays the piano every single day. Her fingers are nimble, her thoughts quick, and her memory as sharp as a metronome. When asked about her secret, she didn't mention supplements or puzzles. She pointed to a simple tin on her kitchen table. Every morning after her walk, she eats a spoonful of yogurt topped with ground flaxseed, crushed pistachios, and 1 Brazil nut. That's it. For her, it's a ritual, not a prescription or a program, just a moment of care, repeated daily. And in that consistency, her brain finds fuel. Her family reports that she rarely forgets birthdays, always remembers long-past melodies, and still teaches lessons to younger pianists in the neighborhood. Stories like Irene's remind us that aging does not have to mean decline. It can mean refinement, fewer distractions, greater focus. But only if we nourish the tools we still have, and the brain, perhaps more than anything, needs that steady nourishment. And while these stories are uplifting, they also challenge a common misconception: that memory loss and confusion are inevitable in older age. That forgetting why you walked into a room or struggling to recall names is just part of getting older. Yes, the brain changes, but it also adapts. It builds new paths. And that process continues well into our 80s and beyond if we give it the right building blocks. That's why these 5 nuts are so important. They're not a cure, but they are part of a prevention plan. They are gentle protectors working behind the scenes to support blood flow, reduce inflammation, balance mood, and preserve memory. And if you're wondering whether you need to eat all 5 every day, don't worry. Even rotating them in 2 or 3 at a time can make a difference. The key is consistency over time, not perfection. A small bowl by your chair, a mix in your purse, something you reach for instead of chips or cookies. There's one more thing to remember. As with anything, quality matters. Try to choose raw or dry roasted nuts without added oils or sugars. If possible, store them in the fridge to protect their natural oils from turning rancid. And for those with sensitive digestion, Soaking almonds or hazelnuts overnight can make them gentler and easier to absorb. So as you reflect on your meals this week, ask yourself, where can I add nourishment that supports not just my body, but my mind? What small change can I make today that future me will thank me for? And if you're feeling inspired, don't keep it to yourself. Share your own memory rituals in the comments. Maybe you've been using walnuts for years, or you've recently discovered how much better you feel with a daily Brazil nut. These shared stories create a circle of wisdom and help all of us age not just longer, but brighter. If this message has touched your heart or sparked a memory, we invite you to like this video and subscribe to Golden Daily Life, your home for inspiring stories, practical wisdom, and everyday choices that shape a healthier future. In the final section ahead, we'll explore how these nuts affect emotional health, how mood and memory are deeply connected, and what one 82-year-old counselor discovered about the power of food and joy in helping her navigate grief and clarity in her golden years. There's something often overlooked when we talk about brain health, especially in later years. We think of memory, of clarity, of focus. But there's another piece of the puzzle that's just as vital: emotional balance. How we feel affects how we think. And surprisingly, the food we eat can shape both. For seniors, the connection between mood and memory becomes even more important. Loneliness, anxiety, and even low-grade sadness can subtly cloud the mind. And it turns out, several of the nuts we've discussed not only boost cognition but also support mood stability. Take pistachios. They're rich in vitamin B6, a nutrient that helps create serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter. When your serotonin levels are steady, you feel calmer, more emotionally centered. Walnuts, too, play a role here with their plant-based omega-3s. They've been shown to reduce symptoms of mild depression, especially in older adults. Now, picture a quiet morning. An older woman sits by her window, looking out at her garden. She's just lost her partner of 50 years. The days feel longer now. But every morning, she makes a cup of green tea, slices up half a banana, and adds a small handful of almonds and pistachios to a bowl. It's not just about nutrition, it's a ritual, a moment of grounding. That small habit becomes an anchor, a way to feel steady when emotions rise and memories tug. This was the real-life experience of Eleanor, an 82-year-old grief counselor from Vermont. After losing her husband, she began experiencing intense forgetfulness, not dementia, but the kind of cognitive fog that grief can bring. She couldn't find her keys. She missed her appointments. For someone who had always been sharp and organized, it was deeply unsettling. She didn't want to rely on medication for mood or memory, so she began reading about brain-supportive foods, particularly those that nourish both mind and heart. Over time, she added walnuts, pistachios, and Brazil nuts to her morning routine. She combined them with calming herbal teas and made it a habit to eat them slowly while listening to music from her younger years. Weeks passed. The fog didn't lift overnight, but slowly, she began feeling clearer. She started journaling again. Her sleep improved. And she was able to begin offering guidance to others in grief using food, among other things, as part of the healing process. Stories like Eleanor's highlight a powerful truth. It's not just what we eat, it's how we bring those foods into our lives. With intention, with consistency, with care. This leads us to the final and perhaps most important message of this video. These 5 nuts, walnuts, Brazil nuts, almonds, hazelnuts, and pistachios are not miracle cures, but they are tools. Natural, affordable, accessible tools that can be used every day to build a better brain. One that remembers names, one that holds on to laughter, one that knows the faces of loved ones even as the years go on. Let's briefly revisit their strengths. Walnuts, rich in omega-3s, nourish the brain's structure and reduce inflammation. Brazil nuts, with just 1 per day, provide selenium for memory and mood. Almonds offer vitamin E to protect against age-related cognitive decline. Hazelnuts boost thiamine, which supports nerve function and clear thinking. Pistachios, with B6 and lutein, promote both memory and emotional balance. Together, they form a kind of natural defense system, one that's gentle but strong, one that doesn't just support memory, but the emotional resilience needed to truly enjoy our golden years. So, what can you do today? Start small. Choose one of these nuts and add it to your breakfast. Put a small container by your chair or in your bag. Make it part of your evening wind down. Let it become a habit, not a chore. And as you do, notice the small shifts. Maybe you'll feel a bit more focused during your daily walk. Maybe you'll remember a name without struggling. Maybe you'll find your mood lifting, ever so slightly, on a cloudy day. This is how health builds. Quietly, gently, but powerfully. And you don't have to walk this path alone. If you've discovered your own brain-boosting rituals, we'd love to hear them. Share your experiences in the comments. Your words may inspire someone else to begin their journey. Let's build a community that grows stronger, wiser, and brighter with each year. If you found this video helpful, uplifting, or simply hopeful, please give it a like. Subscribe to Golden Daily Life for more real stories, practical tips, and gentle wisdom to help you or your loved ones age with strength and joy. And don't forget to share this video with a friend or family member who might benefit from these simple, powerful changes. Your brain has supported you through every chapter of your life. Now it's time to give back with kindness, with care, and with a small bowl of nature's quiet healers.